Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our English class. Today, we are going to talk about the story The Selfish Giant. For our starter activity, guess the word. This is the same as the four pictures and one word game. I want you to look at the picture carefully and guess what's the word. Pause the video and think for your answer. Time is up. Now let's reveal the word. So we get G, I, A, and T. The word is giant. Did you get the correct answer? Good job. Our learning objective is to draw inferences such as inferring characters' feelings, thoughts, and motives from their actions. Success criteria. I can complete information based on the given texts. I can write sentences to answer the given questions based on the given text. I can explain the answer on given questions based on inferences from a given text. And I can create a fact file about the character in a given text. Have you seen a giant? Do these creatures really exist? Justify your answer. No. The answer is no. Giants or giant are just fictionary character. They only exist in stories and in movies. Here are the keywords. Blossom, selfish, trespassers. These three words are found in the story. So let's see the meaning. Blossom means a flower or a mass of flowers, especially on the tree or bush. Selfish, person lacking consideration for other people, concerned chiefly with one's own personal profit or pleasure. Trespassers, a person entering someone's land or property without permission. Now, are you ready for the story? Here it goes. The Selfish Giant by Oscar Wilde. What is the story about? How many characters are there? Take note of these questions. Every afternoon, as they were coming from school, the children used to go and play in the giant's garden. It was a large, lovely garden with soft green grass and beautiful flowers like stars. The birds sat on the trees and sang so sweetly that the children used to stop their games in order to listen to them. How happy we are here! They cried to each other. One day, the giant came back. He had been visit his friend and had stayed him for 7 years. When he arrived, he saw the children playing in the garden. "What are you doing here?" he cried in a very gruff voice, and the children ran away. "My own garden is my own garden," said the giant. "Anyone who can understand that? I will allow nobody to play it in but myself." So he built a high wall all around it and put up a notice board: "Trespassers will be removed." He was a very selfish giant. The poor children had now nowhere to play. They tried to play on the road, but the road was dangerous, dusty, and did not like it. They used to wander around the high wall when their lessons were over and talk about the beautiful garden inside. Then the spring came, and all over the countryside there were little blossoms and little birds. Only in the garden of the selfish giant it was still winter. The birds did not care to sing in it, as there were no children and the trees forgot to blossom. "I cannot understand why the spring is so late in coming," said the selfish giant, as he sat at the window and looked out at his cold white garden. "I hope there will be a change in the weather." But the spring never came, nor the summer. The autumn gave golden fruit to every garden, but to the giant's garden she gave none. "He is too selfish," she said. One morning, the giant was lying awake in bed when he heard some lovely music. It sounded so sweet to his ears that he thought it must be the king's musicians passing by. It was really only a little bird singing outside his window, but it was so long since he had heard a bird sing in his garden that it seemed to him to be in the most beautiful music in the world. "I believe the spring has come at last," said the giant, and he jumped out of bed and looked out. What did he see? He saw a most wonderful sight. Through a little hole in the wall the children had crept in, and they were sitting in the branches of the trees. In every tree that he could see there was a little child, and trees were so glad to have the children back again. But there's only one child who can't climb the tree. What would happen next? He was so small that he could not reach up to the branches of the tree, and he was crying bitterly. "How selfish I have been," he said. "Now I know why the spring would not come here. I will put that poor little boy on the top of the tree, and then I will knock down the wall, and my garden shall be the children's playground for ever and ever." So he went downstairs and opened the front door quite softly, and went out in the garden. But when the children saw him, they were so frightened that they all ran away, and the garden became winter again. The giant took the small boy gently in his hand, and put him up into the tree, and the tree broke at once into blossom, and the birds came and sang on it. When the other children saw that the giant was not wicked any longer, they came running back, and with them came the spring. "It is your garden now, little children," said the giant, and he took a great axe and knocked down the wall. The giant played with the children in the most beautiful garden and lived happily ever after. The end. Now, I would like you to answer the activity. Activity 1. Fill the gap with the correct word given below. The words are axe, garden, blossom, music, wall, 7, and winter. Pause the video and do the activity. Time is up. Now let's reveal the answers. Number 1, garden. Number 2, 7, 7 years. I will read to you again the sentence for number 1. Every afternoon, the children used to go and play in the giant's garden. 7 for number 2. The giant had stayed with his friends for 7 years. Number 3 answer is wall. When he returned to his castle, he built a high wall all around it. Number 4 is winter. Then the spring came, but in the giant's garden it was still winter. Number 5, music. One morning the giant heard some lovely music. And number 6, blossom. When he put the boy up into the tree broke into blossom. Do you have all the correct answers? Great job. Now try this activity too. Answer the questions from the story. Number 1, where did the children used to play after school? Number 2, who had the giant been to visit? Number 3, how long had the giant been away? Fourth, what did the giant see when he came back? And fifth, what did the giant do to keep the children out of the garden? You have 5 minutes to answer this. Write a complete answers or sentence in your copybook. All right, time is up. Let's reveal the answers. Okay, so the children used to play after school in the garden. Number 2, the giant visited his friend. 3, the giant stayed for 7 years in his friend. Number 4, he saw children playing in his garden. And number 5, he built a high wall to stop trespassers, or the children who came into his garden. And finally, activity 3. Answer the following questions. List down adjectives describing the giant both before and after he meets the little boy. Number 2. Do you think this story has an underlying message? What is it? Do you agree or you disagree with it and why? Number 3. Is this story like any other stories you have heard? What's similar or different about this one? I am leaving you with these 3 questions. Answer it in your own pace. See you next time. Enjoy learning. Always remember, be the best you can. Bye.